Hey everyone, and welcome to the Babylon Chronicles, a podcast dedicated to taking a look at the inner workings, the discussions, and the shenanigans involved with making one of the world's most powerful, beautiful, simple, and open web rendering engines, BabylonJS. My name is Jason Carter, also known as Pirate JC in the Babylon world, and I'm joined as always by my co-host David Couture, also known as
Delta Kosh.
Delta Kosh, the creator, the original, the OG Babylonian. And we are joined by an incredibly special guest. I am so excited for today's episode, Mr. Julian Moreau-Mathis, and that he has a very special relationship with Babylon and the Babylon team.
Exactly.
He is the creator, the brain, the person behind the BabylonJS editor. This is such a cool project, Julian, and I'm so excited to tell your story to the community. I think you've managed somehow to fly a little under the radar and not get a lot of attention to yourself. So I'm glad we get to shine a spotlight on you and the incredible
we can
work
say
that you've done.
If you go to editor.babylonjs.com, that's Julian, right? The editor that's is right there, it's Julian work. And for quite some time, he was alone on it, like not giving up and everything. And now we have a very interesting success to share. So yeah, here we are.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
and don't hesitate to download, of course.
Of course. If you're not compelled by the end of this episode to download and use the editor, something's wrong. Let's take a step back. Let me give a tiny bit of high-level context a little bit. Again, this is a look at how the development of BabylonJS and its community and process all happens. So the idea is to shine a spotlight on some of the inner workings here. So BabylonJS is a JavaScript, a TypeScript framework that sits on top of WebGL. That is an engine. It is a fully featured game engine, but it's code, for lack of a better word.
It's code-centric, right? That's how we put ourselves. We are code first.
Yeah, and we have built some dev tools to help make the workflow a little easier in helping you develop, but it's always about creating code.
Yeah,
ultimately,
center is the code. Yeah.
That's kind of the space that we've honed in on. When I say we, I mean the core BabylonJS team is working on it, full time, and there's limitations in that. That makes an assumption that the audience, the people who will use Babylon, are able to use code, are comfortable with code, think in code. And as we've seen time and time again through Unity, through Godot, through Unreal, there's a wide audience of people that want to make creations with game engines that maybe code isn't their first love or their first thing they speak about. And that enters a really interesting problem because we don't, unfortunately, have the core dev team doesn't have the resource to build a full-fledged UI editor. And yet one has existed for the longest time alongside the core engine as a sister project, a hand in hand, a sibling, a tightly held partnership. And that's Julian. Julian has created the UI that can sit on top of Babylon to allow you to create incredible things, even if you don't use code. And I'm going to post a link to a video that Julian and his team created that is made entirely in the editor. And it blows my mind that this was done. So it's this incredible community project that has grown up and blossomed alongside Babylon as a sister project. And really the two are just made for each other. And we've known Julian for years and have loved Julian and his work. And we're so excited to shine a spotlight on you and your story. So that's the context. Julian, let me hand the mic to you. I would love for you to tell us your origin story. Your superhero superpower. How did you start? Where'd you grow up? How'd you get into editors? Tell us the story.
You will see it will be fun because at the beginning, before starting in BabylonJS, I was a student, and I had a project. I was kind of dreaming. I was 20 years old, and I said, I want to create a 3D video game, I want. So what I did is that I started working on this game without any asset. But I had to code a lot. And I remember an article from David saying, I want BabylonJS to be easy to use. I have a ship. I want this ship here. That's all. But for me, it was too much because I had to. It was C++ at the origin, the video game I wanted to develop, and I had to compile, test visually if it works. Then, oh no, it's not where I want it to be. And then I change the position. Annoying, really annoying. And what I started to do is to watch all other people. They build games, and they basically used Unity. Only Unity, because Unreal at this moment was kind of licensing for big studios.
Yeah, it was $1 million.
Yeah. So it was mainly Unity, and I saw how it was working Unity. I downloaded it, and I was so lazy. I remember, I was so lazy. I didn't want to learn Unity.
The term is efficient. Developers are efficient, not lazy.
Focused. Yeah. You were focused enough.
Exactly. I found it annoying, let's say, because there were too much buttons. I did not understand anything. I didn't know C# at the origin. So I decided to build my own tool. You know, when you're a student, you have time. So let's see.
That's one advantage, yes.
Yeah. I think it was a good idea because I developed some skills in doing that. But so I started to build my tools. At the beginning, they were really, how do you say, simple. Light, and at the end I finished with an editor developed using C++ for my game engine. And then I met some people saying you should sell it, you should do something with it. It's there is the
trying
indie
to sell it,
scene.
Yes,
yeah, because there is the indie scene. They want it, they don't want Unity. Blah, blah, blah. So some people were saying things like that. This is why I decided for my how do you say not internship, stage, internship for my first internship at school. It was 6 months. I decided to go in a startup because my professor told me startup is where you will meet people basically. Then I met David, huh? So they were right. What was the okay? And then so I was in this internship, and I wanted to continue the development of this editor. And suddenly, what happened is that I met David Catiu coming in the office.
I was evangelist at that time, so I was going to companies to sell Microsoft Edge or probably Internet Explorer at that time.
Yeah.
Hardest job in the world, selling Internet Explorer.
Yeah, probably the worst job I ever had, right? Like, and I did some kind of very bad job, but this one was like on the top.
And I heard about Babylon.js. Why? Because during the internship, I had to choose between Babylon.js and 3.js for the project they wanted to do. And the nature of this project was something, I'm sorry for you, David, but it was the support of multiple 3D file formats. This is why I decided to go through 3.js.
We are still friends. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, cool. Perfect. Thank you. But I know, I already read things about Babylon. Never used it, but I read things. It exists. It does this.
You're
fine.
super.
So David comes to the office and he speaks with my colleagues, etc. We were three in the startup with one internship. Yeah. And David comes to me saying, "Wow, what do you do? It's 3D." And I was like, "Yeah, it's 3.js. Maybe I can show you how it works."
And then David left. He just walked away.
No,
the French version, I slapped him in the face and then I left.
Perfect. Perfect.
No, it's better than this. He said, "Oh, okay, I created Babylon." My reaction was, "Seriously?"
So that's an incredible small world moment right there, because you had evaluated Babylon and then suddenly you just happened to meet the creator of it.
But
he did not pick it, which was even more interesting, right? Like,
yeah.
So I was kind of impressed, to be honest. I was like, "Oh my God, what happens?" Okay, so we kept contact. I contacted David to say, "Well, I have an editor. I do 3D, and I have an editor, and I would love to get your your help, what you think about it, etc. Because I read then a bit about David, and it was a kind of really nice guy. So
it's in the past.
You said
just for yeah.
You noted that I said you were.
Yeah, I was.
Today I don't know. And so we discussed. I remember you invited me in my Microsoft. We ate with my friend Fiona, etc., etc. But finally, what happened is that the market of gaming changed suddenly, and Unreal comes $20 per month.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a good thing because, to be honest, I didn't. At this moment, I didn't think this project would work. My project, my 3D engine with the editor, etc. It was a code from a student. No. To be honest. So I decided to contact David. Hey, hello, David. Do you search? Are you searching for an internee, maybe at Microsoft to do BabylonJS? And he said yes. Quickly, the story. He said yes, and then I went to Microsoft. Amazing. And my mission was to work on BabylonJS.
Yeah. And did you get to?
Yeah.
So they didn't say, yeah, come work on Babylon, and then you had to go sell Internet Explorer?
No. At that time, Babylon was already the story. Just if I can open a parenthesis right quickly, when I joined Microsoft, Babylon was a Silverlight project, Silverlight 5, and I was invited like the day I joined, April 1st. It's not a joke, right? April 1st, 2012. I joined Microsoft April 1st. I had this Silverlight engine that was Babylon, not JS, right? And at that time, Microsoft was presenting a big chunky moment named Mix. It was a big event, like the build of that time, happening at Las Vegas, right? And so I joined April 1st. I was invited because I pinged then all the people I knew at Microsoft, right? Hey, I have this 3D engine, can I come? And show it. They showcase it on stage, like main stage of the biggest event. Yeah, that was crazy because they had Silverlight 5 and they had literally a cube rotating, whereas I came with the full train scene. I don't know if you remember, we have the train, rotating all the 3D and everything, the lens flare. And we're like, okay, we're going to come on stage. So at that time, Babylon was already something that was new internally, and I was able to get a bit of budget to have people working on it. Because when I ported then to JS, it was a very useful tool to sell Internet Explorer. Because Internet Explorer 11 came with WebGL. And so we were able to use BabylonJS as a Trojan horse to go into web developer events and say, hey, no, I won't talk about Internet Explorer, no worries. I will talk about BabylonJS. Oh, by the way, all the demo will be done on Internet Explorer, but that's just a consequence, not the goal. So yeah. And thanks to that, I was able to get Julian as an intern.
I love it. Amazing. So you got to come get an official Microsoft internship and work on Babylon.
Yes.
That's very cool. So what happened next?
So I worked on Babylon. Basically, I went on the forum. I remember the beginning was a bit hard because I was a student, of course. And I remember that all the demos I did, because David, he sent me everywhere, like hackathon or whatever, to present Babylon, I remember. And I used Internet Explorer. Maybe I had this directive. I don't remember.
Yeah, you
had. And finally, I don't remember well everything, but I remember that I created, because I love special effects first, and then I created something just for the pleasure and for the team, some materials that became the materials library today.
Yeah, water material is Julian, like I think fire and brick, maybe like if I remember some of them.
I love that. Which are core parts of the Babylon library.
They are still in the material library. They are still there.
That's awesome.
They need update, to be honest, today. But,
SSIO. You also did the SSIO, the first one.
The first one, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but the second one is way better. No way.
Screen space ambient occlusion for anyone who's not paying attention.
Correct. Exactly. Yes. He also did recently the screen space reflection, SSR.
Yeah.
As you can see, each time I do something think Popov is here to do better.
Alexis, the finisher. You are the creator, and then he finished.
We're not entirely positive that Alexei isn't actually AI. He might be. We're still trying to determine.
We don't know yet perfectly.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. And then at a moment, I remember that I found BabylonJS to be mature, to do really cool things. Okay. But what I was missing was a tool to help me create my design.
An editor, you mean?
Yeah.
This is why I decided to start doing an editor. And if I'm not wrong, before I came in Microsoft as an internee, you told me maybe it would be interesting to have an editor. And I think there was a proof of concept of an editor that I sent you or something like that. I have some...
Yes. If you remember, we also had that part in 3ds Max. I don't know if you remember that part. We had a lot of code where 3ds Max was actually the foundation, the framework where we built our tooling. So one of the idea was to use 3ds Max as the host, right? And we had the action manager
Actions builder,
for me, right? That was inside 3ds Max. So it was an embryo of a editor. To be honest with you, since Babylon exists, this editor question remains. Like Patrick in our team and Jason, for instance, are the big, I would say, customer of asking a lot about having an editor. Like I feel that they are like you, but they want to have a way to create without having to be code-centric.
I think you just hit the nail on the head. It's how we're constantly asking, are we meeting our audience's needs? Do we have the right tools, the right features, the right helper functions? And a part of that question is there a chunk of our audience that we're not meeting because we don't have, it's not easy enough. It's not, whatever that might be. And many thanks to the editor that you're creating, we can point people to that.
Yeah, we do that all the time in the forum. Like as soon as someone asks for an editor, don't worry, we'll get you covered. There, editor.babylonjs.com. Which always it's not core team because we cannot apply on the editor the same expectations because we work with high level people like Adobe or internal at Microsoft that expect like a 24-hour turnaround for a bug fix. We don't put that into Julien's shoulder, of course, right? So that's why we all have this beware. It's not maintained by the main team, but as soon as Julian has, we help and fix whatever he needs.
Exactly. Yeah. Each time. Really active.
And Julian, the history of the editor is a fascinating one. Do you know exactly when the first version shipped?
I'm looking at it right now. If you have the answer, Julian, that would be cool.
I think it was 2015.
I have the editor.babylonjs.com registration on our internet provider as of July 2015.
2015. Yeah, I was right. July.
So we're talking. So I want to pause here. That's 10 years ago.
Yeah,
Julian.
10 years in the making, man. 10 years.
10 years ago. So you've been working on this. This has been a passion project for 10 years. That's amazing. And this is not your full-time job.
No, but this is the only thing I have on my spare time.
It's amazing.
That's why.
It's amazing, Julian. Amazing.
And honestly, I encourage people to go and open it because first, there is one warning. You don't sign the installation. So there will be a warning saying, hey, it's not signed, but it's a official project. You get it from editor.babylonjs.com. And then, honestly, it's a full-fledged editor. Like it can compare to Unity, no freaking problem. It's clean, it's beautiful. It works on Apple Silicon, Intel. It works on Windows. Like literally, like it's a. I don't know how you do that by yourself, honestly.
I think that's from our vantage point on the on the core team. I think we all look at Julian and go, "Is he a magician? Like, how has he made an entire editor?"
He's not alone. Like that's always what you say. There is probably some people working in the shadows for him, and he does not feel it, right? That's not possible.
No, but as you said, it's been 10 years. You said, but yes, it's 10 years of experience, and what happened is that. I sort by importance what by the experience what I should for each major version, what I want to put, what I don't want to do, etc., etc. And for example, you said it's not signed on Windows, and it is planned because on macOS I had to, because recently they just forbid everything that is not signed. So I did the effort. So I pay each time per year to sign it.
And that's the same for Microsoft. You need to pay as well, I guess.
Yes, we need to pay a certificate, but it looks like the process is a bit harder. I have to send my my identity, etc. I get a USB key, etc., etc. It's way different. With Apple, you send the app on the server, it's signed for you because you are identified as an Apple developer.
As an Apple user, yes, of course.
Yeah. So it's easier this way.
Well, Microsoft is more complicated. No, I don't believe that. That's not the Microsoft I know.
For me, it's not more complicated because they don't have any kind of service like that.
Well,
you have to use third party. Yeah.
So Julian, so 10 years ago, your first version comes out to go alongside Babylon and be that tool that people maybe who aren't as comfortable writing code to make their creations, you bring it to life. What has the process been? Because obviously 10 years of BabylonJS, the core engine developing with new advanced features and stuff like that. How has it been to develop alongside that? And with not a massive team. I think it's you, and you mentioned you have maybe a couple other contributors now that are helping contribute to it. So it's not a huge team. So what's that process been like?
At the beginning, I remember that I was not that good in communicating, and it was a pure web editor.
Okay.
And this had problems. I had to serve it somewhere. How do you save your files, etc., etc. So in my mind, it was kind of unstable. So I tried to not communicate a lot. I have one quality is that I have the patience. You say patience?
Oh my gosh! Yes.
Yeah. If it's not today, maybe not tomorrow. Maybe it will be in 1 year, etc.
Resilient. You are resilient.
I am resilient. Yes. Sorry.
I love that.
And then what I try to do is to basically the first version we did one good communication. It was kind of a cinematic too, a cinematic short film video called Rinse. And it's funny to compare today.
You did that on the forum. Right.
And I was like, wow! I was impressed because the engine was evolved all. And then that's all. And I decided to start the version 2 because it was more scalable. I learned how to use JavaScript modules, blah, blah, blah. And there were a plugin system.
You're super.
And I also discovered Electron.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And this made the real difference.
Of course, because you can create a native apps in that way.
Exactly.
So this is Electron. Anybody who's not familiar with it is a way to take web-based code and deshackle it from a browser and be able to deploy native apps.
Yeah, it's a browser around your web code that runs as an executable that you can install.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks like a native app. And the benefit of it is that you have kind of Node.js integrated in your web page.
Yeah.
So you can act as a native app.
Yeah.
And this changed a lot because, to be honest, version 1 and version 2, they were kind of gadgets. But they were gadgets, not kind of, they were gadgets because the workflow was not that fluid. Not fluid at all, I would say.
Now it's Unity-like. Like you create your stuff, you hit play, boom, done. You push the button, it's executing. Okay, have a good day.
That's
exactly. You put your script, blah, blah, blah. So it was gadget, but during this time, I learned a lot about Electron, web development in general. I had more experience too because I had my work, and at work you learn things, of course, etc.
Well, of course.
And then I decided, this was the main rotation. I decided to do the version 4, not 3, but 4, to be...
that's funny because I was doing some research. I found on our forum the announcement for 4. I was not able to find for 3. There is no 3, right?
I consider the version 3 to be the Electron version of the version 2. This is why. But it was still gadget for me. And I started the version 4. And this one, I was really proud of it because it was fully based on Electron and well integrated with Electron. The UI was, if I compare to today, was really ugly, etc. But it worked enough to produce something. And I will tell you something is that what I failed is that the communication of the version 4 and my how do you say my presence on it, because what made the difference is that I joined a startup where I learned everything for the version 5.
Yeah.
And you are still working with that startup right now?
No.
Because I know you have a work related to 3D as well, right?
Exactly.
You were using Babylon in your work as well at some point.
Exact. And guess what? BabylonJS and the editor generated a revenue for us.
Amazing.
Well, that's the last mile. That's the last mile. Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing.
Because, and this is the really important, because I was thinking a lot, I should stop doing this editor because I'm alone, it's too hard, I don't have enough time on my spare time, etc. But seeing that this version generated a lot amount of money,
yeah, of course,
I was like, wow, I just have to learn how to package it, how to communicate it.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is exactly what we were experimenting all the time in this startup.
Fascinating. Just fascinating.
And are Julian, you doing this with this startup?
No, it's closed. No, we failed.
That's okay.
Unfortunately, it was interesting. We did kind of showrooms. One was for Dior because you know it.
Remember French brand demo? Yeah. Of course, yes.
Oh yeah.
And everything was made thanks to the editor. I think there were not more than maybe 300 lines of code. Everything was done using the editor. Yeah. The other one,
Dior, like literally Dior, like the brand, the luxury brand, paid for it, right? Like
they paid for this showroom, yes.
And I believe that experience is still live, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still live. I mean, we use it for the recent video. I can check, but
exactly.
Yeah. I think that experience is still live. Yeah,
I will check
that's incredible. So a major luxury brand paid for you to basically bring this experience to life using the editor in Babylon, which is incredible.
Yeah, because we were in crypto money, but we were also in 3D. We were mixing both. And the CEO came from luxury brands, so he had contact, etc.
Got it. Amazing. I love that. That's so cool. So one thing I want to hit that I really, a huge passion of mine is to be able to shed some light on. We are human beings that are trying to make something for the world. And I think the human being part is really important. You said something I want to come back to, which is throughout the course of this version 4 of the editor, there were moments where you said, should I stop? I'm by myself. It's hard. That is such an important moment, Julian. And I appreciate you having the vulnerability to share that, because I think a lot of developers, a lot of creators, builders, makers, experience that same thing, right? You work on something for a while and you just want to give it to the world and make something useful for the world. And then you hit that moment where it's like, should I keep doing this? And I am incredibly impressed. And I remember, Julian, you and I had some conversations, and in that moment where I think it was, you weren't quite there, you weren't quite able to give your everything to it. It was a down moment in the development cycle. And here we are, and you use that as fuel, as motivation, even for you to say, no, I got to move past that. And I think that says so much about your character as a person, to be able to push through some of that self-doubt, some of those questions. And I just want to commend you, as a friend, as a fellow developer, that I feel that way sometimes on some of my demos and projects. I know David does as well. It's easy to go, should I just throw in the towel? It takes a lot of resilience, patience, persistence, and tenacity to be able to push through that mental moment. And I really appreciate you sharing that, because look at where we are today. You went from version 4, which blew me away at the time, to version 5, which I'm astounded by. And by the way, let's pause there. Version 5 has officially been announced and released I know you've been working on it, but it's released and announced this week. So we're recording this podcast in a moment where version 5 is here. It's live. It's on the website. You got to go check it out. And again, we're going to post a video in the link to this podcast, wherever you're listening or watching, to a video that Julian created entirely using the editor. And it's going to blow you away. A real-time web-based game engine was used to generate this video, and the effects and the drama and the lighting, and you're going to love it. It's amazing. So you got to check it out. So Julian, tell us about, you push through this mental moment, you have motivation, version 5 is here. Roll out the red carpet for you, man. Tell us about it. What's version 5? What features does it have? This is your announced moment.
This is your, sell it to the world. Why should I stop using Unity?
The premiere.
Basically, what the version 5 has is less than the version 4. But what it does it way better.
You're super.
Today, you mentioned the video, etc. For the video, of course, I developed a proof of concept of a cinematic editor to animate, the camera, etc.
So you have like graph, like in Blender, for instance, to manipulate. Can we do a share screen, Jason? Does that work?
If you're watching on the YouTube version of the podcast, yes. If you're listening,
right. For the
imagine
podcast,
what you'll see. But yes,
sorry,
absolutely.
Don't do it then.
Okay. No, I don't have graph. I just put keys, so I have a kind of a timeline, a list of timelines. In fact,
that's what I meant. Sorry, not graph in the line, but like a keyframe editor, like in Blender, right?
Exact. And what I had to do for the for the joke is that I wanted sometimes to have my curves looking good, so I have imagined and put the tangents value myself using an input text to create that. It was a good exercise. This is why I say it's a proof of concept. It is missing too much main features like graph editing with tangents, etc. But what you can do
can I open maybe here? You can maybe use ACE for that, right? We have all the code in ACE available.
Animation curve editor. That's a
animation curve editor. Yes.
Animation curve editor. Yes. I wanted to look at the code. The problem with ACE is that we will have problems with the design. This is what I experienced today. Is that when I open the node material editor, the design is not the same at all. I have to find a solution for it, but I will find. But and the cinematic editor is still proof of concept, so it's okay. It's not the main feature. The main features are, I want to be able, as a user and an artist, because during the version 4, I had a lot of artists using the editor, and also developers and creative developers. The grass in here was done by a creative developer. He was coding, modelizing. This guy is awesome. What happens is that those people, they come from Unity, or not from Unity, but maybe from Unity. So I wanted to support the main 3D formats. Imagine you import your asset in your project, then you drag and drop it in your preview and it works. That's the first thing, else you don't have 3D. And this, I wanted to support major 3D file formats. So I included FBX, of course. I have to, using a cool library called Async, which is a C++ one, GLB, and then Babylon. The managing this is something, in fact. And the version 5 does it better than the version 4.
Cool. I love that. Yeah.
That's so
because even for GLB, there is a problem. GLB it embeds the textures. Each time I save, I will save the textures as a buffer. No, it's too complicated. So I have to extract them, then do the link. I don't know if it's clear, but it's better. Okay. Thank you.
Well, it's just to kind of reiterate. Yeah. So if anybody's not super familiar with the GLTF and GLB file format, GLTF represents the mesh data. And then has links to, can have links to external files that point to textures or materials. The GLB is a packaged version of all of that together in one file. And so GLB is the most common file format on the web. It's like the JPEG of 3D objects. And you then have to, okay, well, if somebody wants to change a texture, you have to extract it out of the GLB and be able to make a link in the editor for the experience to work so that the texture can change independent of the mesh, right?
Exact. But basically, I do what Unreal does.
Unreal already does that, right? I do that, right?
Exact. I learned how to copy the others too.
Well, even at the engine level, we also learned how to copy, like several features were just ports from 3JS because they are there, and why do you want to reinvent the wheel? So
of course.
That's developer, right?
Exact. This is the beauty of open source.
My gosh, that was just so true. Well, incredible, Julian. I mean, I love that. So it sounds like you've gone through what I like to call the Blender moment. I have this funny relationship with Blender where, in my opinion, it was one of the worst tools that humanity had ever created for a long time. And then
2.7.8, like something like that.
Yeah, 2.8 specifically, like that divide. When 2.8 came out, it was like, hey, a tool for humans, great. I'm not saying, of course, it was that dramatic, but it sounds like version 4 to version 5 is a simplification. It's an artist-centric unification of some tools and making workflows easier so you can drag and drop your favorite 3D file in. I love that story. You're making it easier for people to create.
Yeah, exact. This is the way I want it to go. It should be easy to do. The only hard thing that could be hard, it depends, because BabylonJS is kind of easy to use engine, to be honest, one-liner everywhere, etc. The way you can attach scripts in the editor, this is the only thing that can be hard. It is when you code your gameplay or whatever.
Yeah, but with the upcoming graph system that we are preparing for interactions, you should have the equivalent of the action builder, like visual coding as well.
Perfect. Okay.
So the equivalent here, if you've used blueprints in Unreal,
blueprint kind of stuff,
Playmaker or Bolt, I think it's called in Unity, these visual scripting, non-destructive node tree things. Obviously, we have some development tools that are node-based. And we haven't been secret about this, but we're interested in one to support GLTF's upcoming interactivity spec, which will involve a behavior graph, so to speak. And so we're extending that so that you can, we'll have some versions. It'll be iterative. It won't have full Babylon features right away, but the idea being that you can start to bring some interactivity to life without writing code through a node system. And so that could plug right on into the editor.
Hey, I want to open the door, but I need to click on the key first. This kind of stuff, or I want to open the elevator, push the button, goes up, because all of that should be done visually the way we did that in the past, if you remember, with the Action Manager.
Yeah. This is perfect because for the version 4, at the really beginning of the version 4, I developed kind of a blueprint system. And we can find in the issues of the repository of the editor, but a lot told me that it was the reason they wanted to use editor. Yeah. So
we are convinced of that. Jason and I, we are convinced of that.
And if you do it, it's perfect because I will just add it in the editor.
But we need to discuss on the side, because you said an enemy or NP or the new stuff may have some UI issue with you, so we should look at that together to see what's blocking you from opening them, right? Even if it's in the window on the side, that should work.
Yeah, I think it's more talking about the design of it, right? Like it doesn't match the design of the editor, which is fine. That's something we can work on together.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not homogeneous, but I think it works for me. The node material works, in fact.
It works, but it's just the design is not matching.
I would say visually for me it works. It's enough. You can understand that it comes from Babylon and not the editor itself. And maybe in the future we will use the same libraries, and maybe.
Well, the good news is we are also working on a revamping of the inspector. I don't think it's public, but anyway, for people listening to the podcast,
it is now.
It is.
Yeah, it is now. We are revamping the inspector in a way that we reuse a central UI library. So Georgie in our team is building a central UI library. So maybe then in the future, we will use that for all the NPE, NME, all the node tools, the inspector, and maybe the editor can also take the same central library. And so we're going to have a unified UI supporting dark and light theme. I know it's important in your case, Julian. So Yeah, maybe that's the future to go.
That will be the perfect future, I think.
Okay.
I want to shift gears ever so slightly. Just a few minutes left here. There's really interesting moments happen. We talk a lot about this on the podcast. Obviously, AI is disrupting a lot in the development space. There's a phrase that's been thrown around a lot. I think a number of people have used it. I know it's come from Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, as well as others, that AI is becoming the new UI. And I would be very curious to hear both of your thoughts. Maybe Julian, will start with you on what do you think about the idea of creating a UI that sits on top of an engine in a world where AI is becoming this increasingly useful tool for developers? What does it mean to make an editor in the moment where AI is becoming so explosively popular?
I will say you have to go through it. And this is what I did since our last discussion. I'm not on the AI is the new UI, but what I did is kind of experiments. Imagine you have an image of something you want in 3D, and then you drag and drop this image in the preview of the editor, and it says, do you want to create a 3D model from it? Yes. And it creates it. What I did as an experiment, and I have a video to share if you want to share in the podcast.
Yes.
Perfect. I did something that runs locally. The only thing you have to do is to install Docker, that's all, on Windows. And you need NVIDIA CUDA compatible machine, for instance, but let's say it's okay, you have it. And I was able to create a full scene using AI.
You're super cool. That's pretty cool. A 3D scene.
A 3D scene using AI and only reference images that I have drag and dropped into my preview. And that was really cool because it gives a lot of ideas, I would say, for the future. I'm thinking a lot about AI, and except this use case, for instance, I have other use case, but in the use case of the editor, I don't see that much use case. I remember the demo of Unreal. That was not AI, but kind of AI. It was the procedurally generated design, where the guy has put a trunk, and then some kind of design went around it, and it was just perfect automatically. It's kind of AI. It was not in this case, but it's kind of what the AI could help a lot.
Yep. Well, seamless textures. Yeah, for sure.
I do think I am like on the same line with Julien. I don't think the AI is the new UI. The AI is the new tool within your UI. Like, I see a world where you have your tool, and then you have a AI that helps you prepare, mash up the stuff, simplify, explain. At the end of the day, you still have your UI because you want to have control, and it's it's today more complicated. It happens at human level. Sometimes I try to explain something to my wife, and at some point, like, okay, I'll do it, right? And so you take the lead and you do the stuff, and she see you doing it, right? It happens in human relationships. So if I have to explain to my AI all the time, no, move it to the left, no, a bit on the right, no, a bit on the left, that will never, ever happen. But having both, exactly like what Julian said, like, hey, you are in your editor, and it say, hey, you want me to do that because it's painful? Okay. And then you fine tweak, you move stuff around. It's going this way everywhere. I see that in Photoshop. I see that even in Blender's add-on, right, where the AI complements you, but not replace the UI.
Yeah, to add to what you're both saying, I think I see the world pretty similarly. I think AI is going to play an interesting role in the creation of something, right? The creation of a scene, the creation of interactivity. Let me start you off.
Doing the stuff like for you, and then you take the lead.
The fine-tune precision editing is going to need a human. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean a 3D editor. I'm even talking like a 2D editor, or, and I don't know, even in Photoshop, you see some of these patterns where it's like, you're not asking AI to fine tune every pixel. If you need a specific paint stroke, a specific precision thing, that's where the human comes in. But AI can actually get you maybe 80% of the way there with a prompt or two. And I think we're seeing this. in code, right? We're seeing this
everywhere.
in code.
Everywhere. And that will always be the case because the final goal is in your mind. And unless the AI can somehow clock into your mind and exactly extract what you need, you will still be the one directing the stuff, right? And so you need a UI for that.
Yeah, that's GPT-6, by the way, where you plug in and it just reads your mind.
Why not? I mean,
GPT-6, yeah.
Good luck, GPT-6, when they open my head and see what's inside, right?
That's right. That's right. It's an incredible story, Julian. I know we need to wrap this up. I just want to say before we wrap, a huge thank you.
Yes.
On behalf of the Babylon team, the core dev team, thank you for being such an incredible partner. Thank you for making something that makes Babylon and making projects with Babylon easier and better. Thank you.
The world is better with the editor in it, for sure.
100% agree with that statement. And your perseverance and persistence and passion, and the fact that you give this away for free, the world owes you a huge congratulations and thank you. And so on behalf of the team, the community, the world, thank you, Julian, for the work you're doing. You're making a mark in the world, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you to you. It's kind of a teamwork, huh?
It's a teamwork. Yes, we are family.
Yeah. And thanks to the BabylonJS team, of course.
Teamwork makes the dream work. That's the phrase, right?
Exactly that. Teamwork makes the dream work. In that case, exactly that.
That's right. Folks, please go to editor.babylonjs.com, download the Babylon editor, try it out. I think you're going to be amazed at what Julian has been building for 10 years. Also, again, check out the videos that he's made. We'll post those with this podcast.
Yeah, we're going to relay it for sure.
And if you want to reach out to Julian, hop on the Babylon forum. Julian, your forum name, remind me one more time, is Julian
Moreau.
Julian Moreau. You can reach out to him and thank him personally for the work that he's done.
It's also Lua Crow, right? Wait. You can also find him on the internet with Lua Crow, because at some point he was a Lua fan, apparently.
Yeah.
And so,
did you say Lua?
Lua. Like the script language. For some reason.
Language. I was 16.
Lua Pro, P-R-O.
Okay. Yeah, Lua Crow, because it's a joke in French, but it's L-U-A-C-R-R-O. Lua Crow.
Yeah. I'm glad that's a French joke for all the
French
listeners.
Means I am a fan of Lua.
Yes, exactly. I was.
I was. Less so now. All right, folks, I think that's all that time that we have. Thank you so much for joining us, Julian. It is seriously such a pleasure to work with you and have you on the podcast. And go check out his editor. You'll thank him for it. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you in the next one.
See you, folks.
All right.